Alright, welcome back. So we've now finished part one. We have now finished our off camp with no fight books. So this is obviously where we aren't looking to get a fight booked. We haven't got a fight booked. We're just looking to build our maximal strength, and we're doing our heaviest lifts probably of the sessions, right? We're looking to build that up as much as possible. Could have lasted 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 10 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever. But it's pretty much whatever we had until we're ready to look for a fight. We then went on to just under the water with the iceberg. This is transitioning to sort of speed strength and maximal strength, or strength speed, sorry, and maximal strength. This is when we were on camp and when we either had a fight booked or we were looking to book a fight. Depending on where you are, what you're doing, all that sort of jazz. You know, it could have a week's notice, could have 2 weeks notice, could have a beautiful 12-week camp, but generally we won't. But yeah, we finished that phase. Okay, now what we're doing is we are moving on to the peak of the iceberg. So this is where we're really going to be doing a lot of our power development, possibly even speed strength development. Generally speaking, there is always going to be an external force, whether we apply that to ourselves or that's through resistance. There's always going to be an external force. Make sure as well you remember, when you are on one phase, you're always kind of transitioning into the next. So this is kind of where a lot of coaches go wrong, a lot of fighters or athletes go wrong. You've got to be transitioning the whole time. So when you're in this off-camp phase, you've got to be looking to move into this on-camp phase. When you're in here, you've got to be looking to get the peak. Okay, this means that you're always going to be ready and you're always going to be good to hit it hard as soon as you move on to that next phase of training, and you're not going to need any sort of acclimatization phase, and you can just hit it hard as soon as you get started. All right, so I'm going to bring that up now. I'm going to reduce that size, and what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to what we need to focus on. All right, so basically what we're looking for here is we're looking for power development. So we're going to be looking for that maximum effort power development as much as we can. So we're going to be doing faster lifts, and we're going to be doing them for shorter periods of time. So we're going to be looking at power development and alactic development. All right, what this means is most lifts, you know, you're going to be looking sort of under the time that we're going to be working for. So generally speaking, they're going to be 12 seconds or under, and that's going to be for your lifts and for your conditioning work. All right, so everything is related. When we're on the off-camp phase, we're looking to do longer sets, longer reps, and that's translated into our conditioning, where we're doing sort of aerobic development, aerobic power development. All right, here it's exactly the same. Power development sets are probably going to be between 3 to 8 seconds. Same with the alactic development. Anything longer than 12 seconds, generally speaking, they're going to get that in their pad work, in their skills training, so we don't need to worry about that too much. All right. I also like to add in reactive training here as well. So and we can do this because we have had that transition. They're used to all the movements, they're used to the exercises, so we can make it more reactive and get in some cognitive training there as well. Okay, it's going to be really easy stuff, really basic stuff, but it is going to get them thinking on their feet, and it's going to get them thinking when they're fatigued as well, which we need to know they can do. Now, there is minimal breakdown in this phase, so obviously depending on how long you've got in this phase, generally speaking, it is going to be 2 to 3 weeks. Possibly even a week, though, you never know with the fight game. All right, so minimal breakdown for the CNS and musculature breakdown. So we can't have them getting DOMs, we can't have them getting sore for their skills training, because they are going to be going hard, they're going to be sparring hard. Minimal CNS breakdown, obviously we are going to be looking to do plyometric training and jump training and cognitive work with the reactive training. So you are going to get some slight CNS breakdown. That's almost impossible to avoid with this, but we need to make sure we are aware of it, and we're not going to mess them up for their skills training. We need to deload before this phase of training as well. Okay, so generally speaking, this will be 3 weeks for me, and then they'll have a week for their weight cut. So 4 weeks, they'll deload before they come into this phase, which again is where the transition phase works. They'll deload before they come into this phase, so we know we can hit it hard, and we can start their weight cut, which means they're going to be on a calorie deficit as well. All right, so basically they need to think about their weight cut. All right, what calorie deficit they're in and how that's going to affect their recovery from strength and conditioning and skills work. 2 to 3 weeks in this phase. Do not introduce anything new. So a lot of coaches, you know, they might see something new on YouTube, Instagram, whatever. Do not introduce anything new during this phase. There's no point to it. They're not going to be able to learn it. They're probably in a calorie deficit. They're probably pretty fatigued anyway. So they're not going to learn anything new anyway, and it's just going to increase the chances of injury. Plyometric training, if possible, at the start of this phase. Again, that's going to be reliant on our transition phase. We can't just suddenly go from, maybe a contrast training, jump training into plyometrics, because they're probably not going to be ready for it. So this is where the movement prep comes in these two phases, and we can make sure that they are ready for plyometrics, and it's not going to increase their fatigue and increase their chance of injury. All right, keep the volume the same. Generally, we like to keep the volume the same throughout whole fight camp, but we do increase or decrease the intensity. So now we're going to start to decrease the intensity. Volume stays the same. Decrease the intensity as their calories drop and as their fight training or their skills training gets a lot more intense. Okay, so that's the basic peaking phase of training. Main thing is they've got to have done everything before. So I can't stress enough how important the movement prep is for athletes. It's going to get them ready for their new phase of training. It's going to get them basic movements down to that we haven't really got time to work in their proper strength and conditioning or skill sessions. And if you can get their movement prep improved throughout their skill sessions as well, because it's a really good idea if you can get talking to a lot of their skills coaches or tactical coaches, get them to introduce sort of 5-10 minutes of movement prep, which is going to get the body warm before they start their sessions, and that's really going to help, and you're going to see that transference into the skill, into the sport development, and into their strength and conditioning as well. Hope that was good, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. We are going to keep up with these videos, so make sure you subscribe, like, comment below with any questions, and yeah, have fun.